Hey everyone, it's Courtney from Spirits and Cousins with Tish and Courtney. We've had some good conversations about tools of the trade, the different gear we use. We've given you some stories, and we have some really neat ones coming up too. I haven't done much talking about how I receive some of the information I receive. I pride myself on having evidence that spirits are around, which is why we use equipment. At the same time, I am a medium and I get information in such ways that is really hard to produce the evidence. I get a lot of knowings. I have conversations. Sometimes I can even smell spirits. And so today, I want to talk with you about the clairs and what they are and what some of you might be experiencing in your own daily life. So we have clairvoyance, which means clear seeing, that you can see visions of the past, present, and maybe future flashing through your third eye. Some people see it like a daydream or maybe like a movie running through their head. Then we have clairaudience, which is clear hearing, and that's when you can hear words, sounds, even music playing in your own mind's voice. You might hear what you believe to be that person or that spirit's voice, or you might even hear it in your own voice. Then we have clairsentience, and that is clear feeling, where you can feel other people's or spirits' emotions. You can feel their pain. This might be considered a gut instinct. You go with your gut instinct to make decisions. People who are clairsentients often are very sensitive beings. There's clairaudience, which is clear smelling, that you might smell some odors. And the really cool thing about that is pretty soon we're going to have an episode up where we have an interview with someone that I know who has smelled spirits. There's clairgustance, which is clear tasting, where maybe you can taste something that's not there. Then we have claircognizance, which is a clear knowing. It just is, you have knowledge that just pops into your head that maybe you wouldn't normally use on a daily basis. Once in a great while, I'll be thinking of a word I want to say that describes what I'm trying to convey. And then all of a sudden a word will pop in my head that is not normal for me to use on my everyday daily life. And that's how I know that that's knowing. I'm getting a knowing of this word, and it fits perfectly in the sentence. So in terms of me and what I experience, once in a while I'll get clairvoyance, so clear seeing. Once in a while I'll get flashes of pictures in my mind's eye. It's not very frequent, so it's not something that I consider to be a great tool of mine. For clairaudience, clear hearing, I have heard music in the past. I have had conversations through my mind's voice. Often I hear the voice of the spirit that they were, which is kind of really neat. Then there's clairsentience, is clear feelings. I get this very easily. I'm a highly sensitive person. I can walk into a room and just immediately feel it. And this is what works a lot with me in terms of paranormal investigation, because I can walk into a room and I know the emotions of what's in that space. I remember walking into this red room where a man, I remember walking into this room and just feeling this weight on my shoulders. It was so heavy and sad and felt very desperate. I'll never forget that feeling that I had on my shoulders. And so that is what clairsentience was for me. I later found out he hung himself in that room and was very desperate because he believed his family to be dead. Then we have the clear smelling. And this one I do get sometimes. I remember walking with very fondly a friend of mine through a store. We weren't near any entrances, and all of a sudden we both smelled smoke. like someone was smoking a cigarette right next to us. It was such an odd and neat smell, especially as we were processing and realizing what it was we were smelling, that we were in the presence of some really interesting spirit. And that followed us for a little bit and then slowly dissipated. I've never had clear tasting. I'd be really curious to hear other people's stories, especially about the clairgustance, the clear tasting. But I'd love to hear any of your stories, or if you're interested in hearing more about the clairs. It is claircognizance is definitely my big one. I had to work really hard at learning how to trust myself that what I was hearing was true. And it just has been such an interesting journey. I hope you're having a wonderful journey. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to chime in our email, which is spiritsandcousins@gmail.com, or we have an Instagram, we're Spirits and Cousins. Reach out to us with any stories that you might have, or if there's anything you want to know more of. Enjoy the rest of your day.